So, album review channels have it harder than you think. You know, we may just seem like we listen to music all day, and that's what we do, which, for the most part, yeah, I guess, kind of, but we also have other livings that we do, and we're also humans, we're people, we live a normal life just like everybody else. And they get a lot more shit than you would think, right? I mean, all in all, when you go into album review channels, you should automatically know that it's opinionative, that there's facts that we throw out there, but us hating something or us liking something doesn't mean that that's what we want you to do. We're just telling you our God's honest opinion on a record that we listened to a couple of times and were just not interested in, or it caught our attention very well and ends up making our best of the year-end list. It's just how it works for the most part. And you'll get the people who want to have friendly arguments in the comments, and those are fine, they'll give you their kind of reasoning, but they won't hold it against you because in the end, it's just your opinion. And we all have our favorite artists that we like, don't get us wrong, and some of them will tell you that they're not biased, but we really are inside a little biased when it comes to our favorite artist, but that doesn't mean that we've never said that a album by an artist that we love isn't enjoyable or whatnot. Like, some people are gonna, every time they put out a record, you're always giving it a good rating. When are you gonna give them a bad rating? It's like, well, I can't just force myself to give them a bad rating for the sake of it. If I like it and enjoy it, I'm gonna let you know. And then when we do give that person a, not necessarily bad rating, but like a mediocre rating at best, everybody starts to become up in arms, especially the stans of those people, and say, well, if you're such a fan, then you would like everything they do, completely reversing everything they've said before, and that's when it gets a little just annoying to us and sometimes frustrating because we feel like, even though it's not our job to satisfy everyone, we're just kind of like, alright then, who is our audience? Who are we trying to appeal to here when something like that happens? And John from ARTV is one of the ones who's dealing with that now. Say what you want about him. I'm not here to say you need to like his album reviews, you need to dislike his album reviews. If you like his reviews, fine. If you dislike his reviews, fine. We're not here about that in particular. We're here about a certain review he did a couple days ago. Now, about a week ago at this point, Hayley Williams released her surprise second record, Flowers For Vases, and I mean, obviously, we all knew that John was going to review this record because he's stated many times he's a big Paramore fan, he's a big Hayley Williams fan, and of course, he loved her debut album so much that why wouldn't he check out the follow-up? I mean, it's the same with me in this case. And people always get this false narrative that he's never really given like a negative review toward any Paramore or Hayley Williams project, when he stated many times before that Paramore's first two records aren't necessarily for him. He may not say that they're bad, but he just says that they're not his favorites over the other three that have come out since then, and I do agree with him on that sense. He gave her new record 2.5 out of 5, which if you do it out of my rating system, which is out of 10, that's a 5 out of 10. That's 50-50. That's not even bad. If it goes below a 5, it's bad. If it's just 5 out of 10, that means that we were very just mixed on it. We don't really know how to feel because we don't like it, but we also don't, hate it either. It's 50-50. It's right smack dab in the middle. And some of the points that he made in the video were, understandable about it being a little bit more boring because it's more of a mellow record, and some of the songs just kind of, end abruptly and they don't really have anything to go off of for the most part. It just kind of, squishes it all together, but not that well. It was understandable stuff like that, and he did state that he has his favorite songs. He's mentioned that, and he even talked about what made his least favorite songs his least favorite songs. So, most of the time, you just leave it at that. For once, he gave Hayley Williams / a Paramore project a not great record, and it's, again, understandable, but Now we have the stan community coming in and basically bullying him on Twitter, because the same people, I can tell you, they're probably the same people that were like, oh, you can't give her a bad review because, you know, you're a fan of her. And now that he has, everyone's up in arms, stating, well, you said this way back, and now they're trying to make him look like other things. Like, one of them mentioned in a tweet, which was posted, I think, 7 years ago at this point, like 8 years ago, something like that, which, why the hell are you going to go all the way back? Like, I don't understand people going all the way back on Twitter, because like I said, you don't have like a, you know, option to view the old first and then view the new. You have to scroll all the way down to find some of the earlier tweets that someone has tweeted. And it was something about, you know, oh, am I the only one that thinks Hayley Williams was more good-looking back then than she is now? And you might get a little bit of a sense that, yeah, it's weird because at that point in time when he means back then, I guess he means underage. But what most people don't realize either, she's 3 years older than him. So I don't think he was looking at it as a perspective of, like, as a 21-year-old man, it was more like, oh, well, when she was 17, I was 14, and, you know, maybe in that point in time, I thought she was a little bit more attractive. You know, something like that. Now they're trying to cancel John and say that he is a, you know the word that we're looking for here, and when it's just a thing taken completely out of context. And there was this whole thing about how he tends to give women, like, slightly worse grades than all the, like, men he, you know, reviews, especially when it comes to solo projects, which, again, if you watch his channel, is not true. I've been watching his channel since 2017, and again, he might not be one of my favorites, but when it comes to some album reviews, he's one of my go-tos when it does come to that, especially when it comes to, like, rock stuff. If he can introduce me to some new bands, then, you know, it's a pretty interesting thing. You know, I don't agree with every single one of his reviews, but I'm not one of those people in the comments that's going to complain about it, because in the end, he's entitled to his opinion just as much as I'm entitled to mine, and if I rate an album higher than him, the same album higher than him, then I'm not going to be like, well, what the hell, you know, it's not what I thought. It's like, okay, well, he's not here to tell you what he thinks you thought. He's here to tell you what he thought, give his honest opinion, and really, he does a lot of research for some of these records. I will give it to him there. There's just some records where when I go and do the research for it, it's all over the place, but he actually takes his time sometimes and does a lot of research for these records, and then, like I said, he gives you good explanations as to why he doesn't like a song, or he likes a song, or he doesn't like an album, you know, what have you. And I'll say this too, music reviewers all have their different way of reviewing things, of like what they want to hear in a song, what they deem to be cringy, and all this kind of stuff, and entertaining. Like, we all have different taste when it comes to that too, so that's why you can never expect music review channels to be the same, and that's why I think it's good to subscribe to more music review channels than just one or two, because then you get to see the other side of the opinion, and it might make you understand more as to why people may not like a record that you like, or why people may like a record that you dislike. It's just, the whole point of it was to let us speak up about our opinions, and not necessarily sway somebody, but make people understand why we think this record is the way it is. And I think, you know, for once, he did that. Well, not for once, he's done it before, but like, just because it was Hayley Williams, he's a fan of her, and he gave her a less than stellar review, people are attacking him because he should give her a good grade every time, because he's a big fan. I'm a big fan too. Her picture's hanging right here. But, you know, if she ever makes crap, I'm going to tell you when she makes crap, which, again, if I were to review those first two records now, I don't necessarily think I'd give Riot like a negative review, but it would definitely be lower than a 7, and with All We Know Is Falling, I like about 4 songs on it, and that's really it with me. The others are just okay to not even that great. I mean, let's be honest, some point in time, you have to grow up, and to me, All We Know Is Falling and Riot were just like, only really fit for teenagers, and then when you get to the Brand New Eyes era, when the band starts getting in their 20s, there's maturity, and you can start relating to a lot more things than when you could of a teenage girl stating about how she's in love with this guy, but these other broads are getting in her way, like in school and all this stuff. It's like, no, I'm 22 now. Like, I can't relate to being in high school now and having a crush on a girl, because you see how weird that is, because I'm 22 years old, and if I was still in high school at 22 years old, not only would I be stupid, but it'd still be a little weird, because I'd be around kids all day, and that's just like, well, a little suspect. It's just like, I can't relate to that stuff anymore. Sure, I can go back and cherish the songs I used to like from those records, but for the most part, it's nothing that I'm going to be like blasting to the heavens when it's all said and done, like, or when people want to go listen to Paramore now, especially my more adult friends. Those aren't the records that I'm going to steer them towards in particular. I'm going to steer them towards Brand New Eyes, the self-titled, and After Laughter, and people who do the same with me, trust me. Seeing my reviews of the records, especially like After Laughter and the self-titled being two of my favorites so far. Once that day comes, if that day ever comes, I mean, I hope not, but really every band has a bad record in their discography. You just don't know it. But that one album in a band's discography that you call your least favorite, that means it's their worst record in your eyes. You might not say it's bad, but when you say it's your least favorite, it's kind of the one that you say is their worst record in their discography. And, they only have 6 records out, so there's a lot to judge, but yet again, not a whole lot. So they're not like, say, Kiss or Weezer, where they have like over 10 to 12, and even I think Kiss has 20 records, and Weezer will be on 15 come May, where you have a lot to go off of, and you have these records that were more experimental than others that you can, like, pick and go, that wasn't necessarily the best era, this was the best era, and then you have all the other ones that are, like, very mediocre in between. Paramore is not one of those bands that really has that, because, like I said, 6 records is not necessarily a whole lot. Maybe at this point in their career, yeah, for being around 17 years at this point, I think it is, going into 2021, and Hayley Williams is 2 records deep into her solo career. First record was great. Second record, I think, was equally as good, just because of the different repercussions that took place. John didn't. You know what? I'm not going to go out and throw a hissy fit on him, try to look back in his past, and try to cancel him and misconstrue things that were said by him, this, that, and the other, calling him a racist, a transphobe, a homophobe, a pedophile, and whatnot. It's just like, everything that was shown was just taken completely out of context, and they went way back. They went like fishing way back for just something, because they were so pissed off at John because he gave Hayley Williams' album a 50-50 smack dab in the middle rating, when it's just like, who cares? I mean, you watch the video because you want to hear someone's opinion on it, like honest opinion, and then when they give you their honest opinion, you throw a hissy fit. It's like, but then if we were to give the album a good record, then you would be the same people that are like, they're not honest with themselves, they just give them a good rating because they're a fan, and it's like, well, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to continue giving the bands that we're fans of good ratings because they're our favorite bands? Or do you want us to be honest and let you know that, hey, we love this band in particular, but this is not their best work. It's really, really not. Are we going to look back and see Flowers for Vases as like a big masterpiece? Some, yes, but really with the way it was brought out and whatever, I don't know. I think her 2 solo albums would just be like, oh yeah, they're there, like, come 10 years down the line. Like, right now they're still fresh in our minds, but for the most part, when it comes to be 2031, 2032, I don't really think we're going to look back at those records as game changers, just kind of there. It's just like, it is what it is with it. It's like, just calm down. And I'm not saying that this is Paramore fans in general. These are the stans. There's a difference between stans and fans. Fans are the fans. They will do anything they can to support the artist, but they also do not like everything that said artist puts out, but they still, support the artist no matter what. Stans are the ones who believe that you have to love everything about the band, everything about their albums, everything about everything, and if you dislike anything about them, then you're not a true fan. So to the fans of Paramore, this isn't about you. This is about the stans who make culture like this toxic, and then you wonder why, we go insane sometimes when it comes to reviewing albums, because they want to hear one thing, and then when they don't hear it, then they freak out, and then they try to do stuff like this, where they basically bully a person online to the point where he's now going to log off of Twitter again, mainly because someone was trying to, bring up what he said in the past, even though, like I said, there's context to everything that was brought up, and it's just kind of ridiculous that this happened and whatnot. And I'm here to defend John as a person in this case, and even as an album reviewer. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying, like, here's reasons why you should like or you should dislike him. Again, I don't care whether you like or dislike him, but I think we can all agree that when a situation like this happens, it's not right. You don't bully and harass people online and try to stir the pot because they gave a negative review on something that you enjoyed. It's just like, when that's your mindset, you're crazy, you're insane, you have no sanity. That's all I have to say about that. But that's just my opinion, so don't take that as fact. But stan culture is full of insane people. Tell me I'm wrong, but yeah, that's basically it. So please, please, please show John support. Go subscribe to his channel. Even if you don't like him, just go subscribe to his channel. Leave him a positive message on Twitter, whatever. Just let him know that, hey, you're with him, and what happened sucked. You may not agree with him 100%, but again, just let him know that even though I may not be 100% agree with you on everything, this is stupid. What happened to you was dumb, and it shouldn't have happened to anybody, and the fact that it happened to you for the stupidest reason ever is just completely and utterly disappointing in this case. So, yeah. Again, that's it. Don't be a stan, be a fan. And until then, stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next one.